No, don't adjust your sets. We're not doing another first impressions video on the Peregrine 13. This is actually a brand new trail running shoe from the Saucony brand, and it is their Blaze TR. So we're going to give you a few facts and figures, then we're going to break down this construction in a bit more detail, and then we're going to be getting out and hitting the trails in what just might be the best value trail running shoe of the year. Welcome back, folks, and thanks for joining us for another video. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So the first impression videos are coming thick and fast at the moment, and just before I dive in and tell you all about the new Blaze TR, which just so happens to colour coordinate with my jacket, if you have been enjoying the content and finding it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It only takes a second to do and it is completely free, but it is a massive help. And while you're there, don't forget to click that bell icon as well, because then you'll be notified when we upload any new exciting running content. Okay, so on to the shoe in question, and it is Saucony's latest addition to their trail running range. Now, if you've followed the channel for any period of time, you'll know that Saucony's shoes tend to work really well for my foot shape most of the time, and I am a big fan of their Exodus Ultra and their Peregrine models. However, the Blaze TR is all about offering a top performing trail running shoe at a really good value price. So these actually retail in the UK for only £105, and I've actually seen some online retailers that are selling them for under £100, which is a really good price in today's crazy running shoe world. So we're giving you the very reasonable RRP, but it also comes in at a pretty good weight. So in a UK 9.5, weighing in at only 275 grams, it runs off an 8mm drop. So we've got a stack height on the heel of 37.5 and 27.5 under the forefoot. The Blaze TR is also vegan friendly, and it contains a lot of recycled materials in its construction. Speaking of construction, and you get a full Power Run foam midsole in the Blaze TR, very similar to what you get on the Peregrine 13s actually. However, you do get a standard insole in this shoe and not that nice deeply cushioned, very bouncy insole that you get in the Peregrine, which is a real shame because I think that makes a massive difference to comfort when you're running in these. So going to be really interesting to see how these feel out on the trails without having that insole in. As far as the all important outsole goes, you can see it's a very similar design to what you get on the Peregrine and the Exodus, but there is a few subtle changes there as well. Obviously that's reflected in the price. So unfortunately you don't get that brilliant flexible rock plate under your forefoot that you get on the Peregrine and on the Exodus, which again is a bit of a shame because it really does offer great levels of underfoot protection when you're running on rocky trails, but it doesn't compromise the performance of that midsole. But you do get a very similar lug pattern. So we've got a 4.5mm lug, slightly different rubber compound this time round. So not the Power Track. Saucony have opted for their XT900 rubber on the Blaze TR. Moving on to the upper, and Saucony have used a lightweight breathable mesh fabric in its construction. We've got a good level of substance in the back end of the shoe from a nice sturdy heel cradle, and we got lots of overlays in place. So wrapping around the midfoot, around those lace eyelets, and wrapping around that toe box. You get a gusseted tongue in that upper for a nice sort of midfoot hold and lockdown, which carries a moderate level of padding, as does the ankle collar and the heel cup. There's been a lock-in system on the laces worked into that midfoot, and Saucony have also put in 2 extra eyelets at the top of the laces just to give the runner a bit more personalisation when it comes to fit and lockdown. And then finishing up, we've got a handy pull tab on the heel and on the tongue just to make it a bit easier to get in and out of the shoe. And then we've also got Saucony's little gaiter attachment worked into the bottom of the laces. So there you have it, the all new Blaze TR trail running shoe from Saucony. Now, I am super interested to find out how this feels and performs out on the trails, because I tried it on indoors just to check the sizing, and I've got to say it feels very, very similar to the Peregrine 13s, and I couldn't really notice a lot of difference, but it's obviously at a much more affordable price point. So without further ado, let's get out on the trails and let's test them out.
For 20 nights and 20 days, lost without a friendly face. No reflection from my soul, emptiness is rising tall. Calling to my brighter side, wishing for a place to hide.
Okay, so we made it out onto the Hell Towers. We're only 2.5 miles in, but I wanted to stop and show you something. So I clearly started the run off in sunglasses. It was nice and bright, but there is a very strange cloud out at sea. Have a look at this. I don't know whether the camera's picking it up, but you can see St Ives there, and then all the way round, all the way to Godrevy Lighthouse is this real sort of grey menacing cloud sitting out to sea. If that's heading this way, I don't think I'm going to need the sunglasses anymore, and I should have probably brought a waterproof jacket with me.
Chasing sunlight, racing for life, breaking silence to master the lies. You can tell the story, but I can deal telling it again.
Right, 4 miles in, and the cloud seems to be staying put, so I think we might be all right, although the further we go along the towers, I think we might run into it. But so far, that new Saucony shoe is running really well straight out of the box. I've tried out some more affordable options from Saucony in the past, and I've always found that they feel quite cheap, they look quite cheap, and they don't perform like their higher price shoe, whereas the Blaze TR feels very, very similar to running as the Peregrine 13. I would say the biggest difference between the two shoes is probably fit, and the Blaze TR seems to have a bit more volume at the midfoot, a bit more width in the toe box as well, whereas the Peregrine is very fitted, quite a precise fit. So if you need a bit more width in your shoes, then the Blaze TR definitely gives you that. Okay, so far so good, and we're going to try and get in probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 miles, see how the legs feel. Feeling pretty good so far, and it is beautiful out here this evening, so let's make hay while the sun shines.
For 20 nights and 20 days, I was drifting out of space. I turned away from every sound, from everything that shook my ground. But slowly I would start to change.
I don't know whether you can pick it up on the GoPro, but I'm running on this path, and if I just stop for a second, see behind me, glorious sunshine there, and then this side we got that dark cloud or a bit of sea mist hanging over the towers, and I'm literally running down the centre of it. So on my left I can feel that cold air, and then on my right I can feel the warmth from the sun. Bizarre conditions tonight out on the towers.
For life, breaking silence to master the lies.
Okay, the sunglasses are up because we have well and truly made it into this weird, eerie sea mist. We're what, 7 miles into the run, going really well, shoe feeling really good. I'm actually impressed with the level of comfort and cushioning I'm getting from that Power Run midsole. I think I can definitely notice that I haven't got that Power Run Plus insole that you get in the Peregrines. That does give you a little bit more plushness, a little more bounce, and I'm also noticing that there isn't a rock plate under the forefoot. So some of them rocky sections that I've just run, I definitely felt a lot more rocks through that midsole than I would in the Peregrine or the Exodus. Not that it was uncomfortable or painful or anything like that, I just noticed the rocks a lot more. So all in all, it's been a really good first run, but I've been trying to hit all the hills out here on the towers to try and get some leg strength, so it's been a pretty challenging run. We've probably got a good 3 miles until we get home, so let's head back to the studio and we're going to break down the performance of the Blaze TR out here on its first run in a bit more detail. Let's get back in the sunshine.
I'm finally a part of the race for life. I'm finally a part of the race for life. I'm finally a part of the race for life.
Well, we definitely got some pretty strange weather conditions out there on today's run, and the weather really couldn't make up its mind because I actually finished the run off in glorious blue sky and sunshine. We managed to get in a solid 9.57 miles, so a great distance for a new shoe straight out the box. And for a budget trail running option, the Saucony Blaze TRs performed really well out there on the Towns. For a more affordable trail running shoe, that Power Run Midsole actually felt nice and comfortable, very responsive on all the terrain that I ran on today. And I've got to be honest, not a million miles from how the Peregrine 13s feel underfoot. I did mention already that I noticed that I didn't have that rock plate in that midsole under my forefoot, and that brilliant Power Run Plus insole was missing from inside the shoe, but not to the point where it made the Blaze TR uncomfortable. However, I do find the Peregrine 13s a more comfortable shoe to run in general. The outsole did a good job out there, although obviously from the footage you can see it was very, very dry. But looking at the lug depth and the layout, I would say it's probably going to perform very similar to an Exodus Ultra, although we have got that different rubber compound. So we've got XT900 instead of the Power Track on the Exodus Ultra. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles, say, wet, rocky conditions. So we'll definitely try and get a couple of wet runs in before we bring you our full in-depth review on the Blaze TR. The only slight negative I'd say I had on the run comes down to fit, which is a very rare thing for me to say because Saucony shoes always tend to work really well for my foot shape, and when I tried them indoors to check them for sizing, it felt really nice around the midfoot. It felt like it fitted my heel well, and it felt very similar to the fit of the Peregrine upper. But once I started running, it felt like there was a little bit of movement within the shoe. I don't know whether it comes down to the width or the width of the midfoot, but I had to stop a couple of times, just retie those laces to try and get a better hold, and it wasn't terrible, but I would say that I definitely get a better lockdown when it comes to the Peregrine and the Exodus upper. So wrapping up, I think Saucony have done a really good job on these, considering it is a more affordable price trail running option, and even though it's just come out, I've seen them online for as little as £95, and I think that's a great price considering how they performed out there on the run today. It looks and feels like a quality product, and that can't always be said about the cheaper price point running shoes I've tested over the years. Obviously, I did have that slight sort of fit issue, but I think that's more of a personal foot shape thing for me, and I'm sure there's lots of people watching this that are actually really happy to hear that maybe there's a bit more volume and a bit more width in the upper compared to the Peregrine. So if you're looking for a new trail running option and you're on a tight budget, then I think the Blaze TR is definitely worth checking out in a bit more detail. So what I'll do is I'll pop down a link in the description below so you can check them out. So there you have it. That is actually our 16th first run, first impressions video of 2023. So we're doing pretty well so far, and I wanted this year to be our biggest year when it comes to full in-depth reviews and first impressions on running shoes. So we're bang on track for that. But don't forget, if you are enjoying the channel, if you're finding the content helpful and you want to support us, then you can do so by picking up some very cool Run4Adventure merch for Run4Adventure.uk. We got some lovely organic tees and hoodies. We've also just developed our first ever fully bespoke Run4Adventure running cap made out of 100% recycled fabrics, and it has to be one of the best performing, most comfortable running caps that I've ever used. And obviously I am a little bit biased there, but they are very nice to run in, or you could just pick up one of our very cool multi-wrap designs. Obviously it is a massive help to the channel and really, really appreciated. But until next time guys, thanks for watching. It really is appreciated. Thanks for supporting. We'll be back here very, very soon, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. We've got a good level of substance there from a nice sturdy heel cradle, and Saucony have worked in lots of overlays, wrapping around the mid-box. There's a lock-in lace setup at the midfoot, and mic check, 1, 2, 3. Can I have a mic check? Mic check.